Hello, and welcome to Friday S.T.E.A.M with the Warren County Library System. My name is Sandy Roberts, and I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the library. Every week I come to you on Fridays at 4 p.m. with new science, technology, engineering, art, and math that we can do online together with materials from around your house. So today we have a really fun project. We're in the height of summer, all the flowers are blooming, and wouldn't it be great to have a way to preserve that? Well, of course you can dry flowers, you can take pictures of flowers, you can do all those kinds of things, but I like to take a little bit of a different approach. I like to do a scavenger hunt for some beautiful flowers in my yard, and then we smash them. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a great way to get all the amazing pigments out of these flowers and onto some paper. And then from there, you can make all kinds of wonderful items. So before we get started, maybe we should talk a little about where all those wonderful colors in our plants and our flowers come from. So let's take a look. All right. You may have heard of chlorophyll before. Chlorophyll is basically the chemical inside leaves that makes them green. Now, it doesn't only make them green. It's not just a pigment. It's also a chemical that helps plants transform light energy and water into glucose, which is a type of sugar that the plants use to eat. And in fact, when we eat plants, it's kind of why we're doing it, because we want to get all the glucose that they have stored and then made into starches and other chemicals that we can use. So plants are green because of that chlorophyll, which helps them make energy. But in the fall, you may notice trees change colors. Why? Well, what happens is the chlorophyll, as there are fewer and fewer summer hours, the chlorophyll starts to break down, as many of these types of trees are going to go and hibernate and won't need to make a lot of food for the winter. As the chlorophyll breaks down, it starts to reveal other pigments in the leaves that are actually underneath. Xanthophyll makes beautiful yellows. Carotenoid makes oranges. Anthocyanins are really interesting because they actually form as the result of the chlorophyll breaking down. So you get all these different leaf colors because the chlorophyll is breaking down, and what's left behind are the other colors that were hidden all summer, or in some cases, new colors formed from the degraded chlorophyll. Now, how does that have to do with flowers? Well, these anthocyanins actually make all kinds of pinks, reds, and blues. The carotenoids and xanthophylls also make colors. And then we have other similar pigments, all of them a slightly different chemical that give us all these beautiful pigments for the flowers. And you can see them through basically the clear cells that are kind of covered with this like almost clear, hard substance that we call cellulose. So you can see the beautiful colors of these pigments. And each is derived a little differently, makes a little bit different color. So let's switch on back. So what that means is that those pigments are inside the cells of our flowers, of our flower petals, and you can get them out. You can dry them and grind them into dust and use it to make paint. You can, of course, dry the flowers and just keep the flowers. Those pigments will often stay, though sometimes they'll change. Today, we're going to go for a real quick and dirty way of releasing that pigment, and I call it flower smashing. Sounds a little crazy, but trust me, it's fun. So the first thing you're going to need to do is find a bunch of different flowers. We went on a little scavenger hunt around our yard. We found some lilies. These are daylilies. Hibiscus. Smells so good. Some butterfly bush. Bit of yarrow. One last lonely dandelion. And some broadleaf plantain. I like the ribs in these. They've got like these veins that would look really cool. So we just kind of went around and collected all kinds of different things. I've even got a little thistle. I've got a touch-me-not. So I like to go around and find them. And then before you smash, take a second. Take a second and get out your smartphone or your tablet, because there's an app called iNaturalist, and it's free. So you go and you download it on your phone, and then when you snap a picture of the leaf or the flower, it will do a search based on that image and come up with the most likely item that is. So you can identify all your flowers before you smash them. It's a really fun way to get to learn a little bit about what's in your yard. So I really suggest that before you do this project, take a minute with your phone to actually find out what you discovered. Okay, what do you need to actually do the flower smashing other than the flowers? This one's pretty easy. Pretty obvious, I would imagine. You're going to need some kind of a hammer or mallet. Now, you can use a regular lightweight hammer, but better to have a rubber or wooden mallet. The reason is they won't crush the flower quite the same. You want to kind of release the pigment without smearing your flower all over the place. And you don't want to damage the paper that you're using. So a rubber mallet or wooden mallet are really great. They give you control. They've got a nice wide head, so you can do a large area all at once. But if you don't have that, your basic hammer will work. Just be gentle, okay? Be gentle. I'm going to go ahead and use my rubber mallet today. Okay, then you're going to need some paper. You can use copy paper, but it's more likely to tear. Better if you use like a thicker bond paper, like you might print a resume on or a special letter, or even a natural paper, because you want something that's got kind of an open fiber to it so it can kind of soak in the pigment, soak in those colors. And copy paper is very, very smooth. So sometimes it doesn't work great. Thicker papers like this is cardstock, they can work, okay? Especially if it's maybe less expensive cardstock. The less expensive, the more open it is, the more it accepts the pigment. We're not looking for it to be super crisp, right? We want it to be kind of blurry. They look like watercolors. Best bet though, if you have it, watercolor paper. This is really, literally meant to be able to accept color. And what's nice about using this too, is if you want, you can actually mist your paper before you get started. And it really will spread the colors a little bit more and it will look like more like a watercolor painting. So that's really up to you. Experiment with it, have fun with it. The other fun thing is that any kind of textured paper, that texture is going to show up in your creation. And that's really neat. Okay, so I'm going to use a regular piece of watercolor paper. I've got my mallet. The last thing you might want, a little bit of invisible tape. Sometimes some of these can be a little tough to get to sit still, okay? So you may want a little tape to hold them in place. And a little spare cardboard or some newspaper just to protect your creation as you're hammering. Again, we don't want the paper to rip. We want to keep it all kind of together. So that's basically what we need. All right, join me over the document camera and let's make our smashed flower print, right? Okay, coming on over here. Hi, neat, huh? Got an extra camera. So I'm just gonna move all of my things over here so I have a bit of space to work. So I've got my paper. Now, I have found that it's best to make a little envelope for my flower. So I'm just gonna fold my paper in half. Kind of, what is that, hot dog style? And just give it a quick crease. And then open it back up. And I'm gonna lay out my flowers. Now it's up to you. If you want to, you can just toss them on there and go. I maybe like to fiddle with them a little bit. So I'm gonna start with, I've got my lily here. And instead of just laying it down here, because this one isn't very flat, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the petals off and just kind of arrange them in a bit of a pattern here. Okay, because you're allowed to do that. We're creating art. That's the art in that's the A in our STEAM today. We're making beautiful flower art. So that's pretty nice. I like that. That looks neat. And again, if I wanted to, I could get out the invisible tape and tape these down. I'm just gonna run with it though, and we'll see what happens. Let's see. I've got these leaves that I really, really like. So I'm just gonna kind of position those on here. And again, have fun with it. Think about how these shapes might kind of work together. And just experiment. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what's really funny is even if these don't work out, like you just get kind of a blob, what you do is you slice it up as bookmarks. And you just punch a little hole in a little ribbon and you give it as a gift. If it comes out looking perfect, then you frame it and you give it as a gift. You get the drift here. It's pretty forgiving. And then I think I'm going to take maybe, did I like those? I don't want those colors together. I might do a different one with those. Oh, I've got this little touch-me-not. I'm just going to put jewel weed. Just going to put that up there. That'd be kind of pretty. And then I've got yarrow. Yarrow is one of my favorites. I really like the yarrow plant plant a lot of it in my yard. I'm gonna see what happens if I just kind of put them on like that. Maybe they'll make like little polka dots. I'm a bit obsessed with polka dots, so maybe I'll get lucky and get a polka dot kind of thing going. All right, so I'm just gonna put some of those on there. And we'll see what happens. This is part of the fun, right? We're gonna experiment. We're gonna try new things. And we're not gonna worry too much about it because, you know, there are more flowers. I can go get more flowers if I want to. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I might waste a little paper. So I take the paper, I rip it up, and I do a little handmade paper out of it. Or maybe I make some seed balls for next season. You know, there's a lot of things that I could do. All right, so now I've got my plants kind of laid out, my flowers kind of laid out, and I'm just gonna very carefully fold this over, trying my best to kind of keep things where I want them. Ooh, that one's really long. All right, now I could just go ahead and start pounding, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a piece of cardboard to protect my work, and it also weights your work down a little bit, which is nice. Now, we're gonna do the tapping. You might also, depending on the table you're working on, want to put a piece of wood, like a piece of plywood underneath, or a cutting board from home will work. I'm using my craft mat, but again, you want a little protection on both sides. So here we go. Smells really good when you're doing this. It smells like summer. And you notice I'm tapping really lightly. I'm not trying to whack the hammer and really slam into it. A little goes a long way. And if we are working in a group or we're working with friends, we always want to make sure that our hammer is coming up to the side, right? Not up into our face. Goggles may be a good idea too. I got my finger. That's why we do little taps. Little taps and you don't get hurt. Okay, let's see how it's coming out. We may need to smash more, we may not. Ooh, there we go. We're getting some nice colors there. Okay, so you can see, and this is part of the fun. Look at this. This red came out as purple here. Let's see how my yarrow did. Oh, my yarrow didn't give me a lot of color though. And that's part of it. You just don't know. You don't know until you try. So I think I'm gonna smash just a little bit more. And again, this is where you might find certain flowers work best if you wet the paper down just a little bit. Do I have any water with me? I don't have my Mr. bottle. I normally have my Mr. bottle nearby. I don't know where it is at the moment. That would have been useful. All right, let's smash a little bit more. And I will tell you, with more padding, you actually get a better image. And this is where, if you want, you can come in with your heavier hammer and do a targeted area. Let's see. So you're going to continue doing that until you get the results that you like. All right. I'm not going to sit here and do this forever because you probably don't really want to watch me sitting here with a hammer. But you get the idea. Oh, woo. Now, what you want to do is actually let these dry, because sometimes your flowers are going to stick to your surface. So I usually put it in the sun for a while with the rock on it and let all of this dry out over a little while. And then, you know, your leftover leaves can go into the compost. Oh, see, I got one good one. So, and all this goes into the compost, right? So it can become beautiful things for next year. Now this one's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. And so I would just keep on experimenting and trying until I got a look I like. Like I said, it is best to get these off when they're dry. You can use a little paintbrush to kind of take off the extras once they're dry. Mine aren't dry, so that's why. But I love this right here. This arch of the flowers with a little bit of yellow around it, I really, really like that. And I feel like that's kind of the part I want to highlight. So what you can do, like I said, you can slice this up and make bookmarks. Really great for bookmarks. You can also cut smaller pieces. You don't have to use the whole page. I have these little 4x4 picture frames that you can get at the craft store. And I love doing a big piece of mixed media or something like this and then cutting just a small piece from it and framing that. Because it kind of takes you away from it. Like, you don't know what is that. It makes it very mysterious. This will look like a watercolor painting if I do that. The other thing I can do is clean this all up and then go in with maybe a felt tipped marker or some paints or things like that and add extra detail. For example, I'm looking at this and it's kind of making me think of a fairy's wings. So I might want to come in and just sketch a little fairy in there, right? And frame the whole thing. So if you're someone that is very good at art, that's a really fun thing that you can do. Or if you're not good at drawing, go get a magazine, okay? Or a really old book, maybe one that you found at the library that they're getting rid of. And cut out a shape and glue it in there and get all mixed media with it, right? Layer different images together. But the point is, this is a technique that you can use all natural colors to discover what those colors look like and to make really beautiful shapes that you can transfer to paper and use for your artwork. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I'm going to go and pop in some pictures and post editing with some other prints to inspire you. Okay, let's come back over here. All right, that's always fun. Things are a little frustrating right now for some of us. So it's kind of nice to have a way that you can make art and get out some of that frustration, right? Make a little noise, have a little fun. This is a great activity for outside because you can just keep running and finding leaves and adding them. And it's great pretty much all time of the year, except for maybe the height of winter. But in fall, you get different colored leaves and do that. And it's really exciting. So I hope that you make some really fun smashed art prints. If you do, we would love to know about that. So you can share that with us on Facebook. You can find all these videos on YouTube. And if you'd like, kids, I have a safe place for you to share your work and see the work of others. It's called Padlet. And there's the website, padlet.com, Sandy89/WCL Makers. Parents, I approve anything that goes in there, so you don't have to worry. No one's in there that shouldn't be, okay? But it's a really great way to go in, see other people's work, and make kind comments. So you can check that out as well. All right, so that's all for Friday S.T.E.A.M today, but remember, our website has lots of great programs on the event calendar. We have a wonderful digital online summer reading program going on right now. There's still time to jump in and earn some badges and maybe get some gift cards. We've got a ton of stuff. We've got music programs. We've got animals. We've got all of my STEM stuff. We've got story times, arts and crafts, all kinds of fun things that you can come and do with us together. Anyway, 4 o'clock every Friday for Friday S.T.E.A.M. I hope you keep on coming back. At 5 o'clock today, look for tool time. We're going to be learning about saws. On Monday, I have Maker Camp at noon. That's a Zoom call. Register for that because we are doing Fix-It Fairy Tales together. Lots of fun. And then at 2 p.m. is Maker Monday, where we invent and create together. And then I have my coding classes at 3. So we are learning to use Scratch to make our own games right now. So make sure you register for that as well. Then on Wednesdays, Lego Lovers at 10 a.m., followed by our TREPS Entrepreneurship Program. Those kids have been working for weeks to put together their first businesses, and we'll be launching that at the Blairstown Farmers Market on August 8th. That's a Saturday. Please mark your calendars. It's going to be a really exciting time. All right, I wish I was in the Makerspace with you, but in the meantime, I'm Sandy Roberts, your Makerspace Coordinator. I hope that you stay safe and stay healthy and keep learning. I'll see you again soon.